Hey, what's up guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today we're going to talk about whether or not Hyliion stock is reigniting or if this is the beginning of the end for Hyliion. You ready? Let's get started. So this channel is all about using the online income opportunities through merch by Amazon and Etsy to build our income online and invest this income in things like the stock market and real estate. If that sounds like something you're interested in, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So, Hyliion announced earlier this week that they are entering and forming what is the Hypertruck Innovation Council. And this is great because this is news. And we love news about Hyliion because most of the time whenever they put it out, it actually is good news about the company and helpful for us, the investors. So what is this Hypertruck Innovation Council? Well, they're forming a council that is bringing together the leaders in the trucking industry from different spaces across the world. And these leaders represent over 100,000 trucks that are on the road right now. And what they're going to be doing is testing and providing feedback and getting the first-hand look and models of the Hypertruck ERX in the future. This is great because it is going to give Hyliion a very much needed, the benefit of having someone to test this before they roll it out to the market. And it is going to potentially avoid having bugs or major negative stories come up in the future. Because if they are able to work everything out with these people who are, in different situations, then it doesn't mean that Hyliion gets negative press in the future and drives the stock further down. Because right now, Hyliion is designing for what Hyliion knows, and they don't know what they don't know. So with having people in this council to test their trucks and put them through situations that Hyliion might not have predicted, it's going to put them in a much better position to be prepared for more. Because like we said, right now, Hyliion doesn't know what they don't know. They have built a truck that they feel is fully capable of meeting the needs that they foresee and that they know about. However, having these people test their truck and put it through the different situations that Hyliion might not be aware of is going to be revealing and going to ultimately be beneficial for Hyliion in the future. Because it's just better to not roll out something that has the potential to have negative feedback, which is going to be great. And again, let's just appreciate the fact that Hyliion has given us this news. This is something that we have been begging for a while because this is something that they could have just swept under the rug. They could have done behind closed doors. They could have gone through this council and then rolled out a great product in the future, and we would have waited an additional maybe 3 months for a stock bump of some kind of news to happen. But they gave us this news. The stock got a little bit of a bump. However, it came at the absolute worst timing. If you've been following the market this week, whenever Hyliion announced this news, it shot up maybe 10%, and then the market just tanked and went sideways. So it kind of just fizzled out, and the momentum that Hyliion had to gain share prices just eventually fizzled out, and it's kind of on an upward trajectory right now, much more mild than it was earlier this week. However, again, we are just appreciative of the news and the fact that Hyliion let us know what is going on. So, what exactly are they going to be testing whenever they get this Hypertruck ERX, and what is the Hypertruck ERX, and is it actually going to be something that is improvable? Well, we think it is definitely something that is going to be improvable because the Hypertruck ERX is different from what they have now. Right now, they have a diesel and renewable natural gas and natural gas powered drivetrain that basically uses the applied resistance from the road and hills to charge a battery that then is powering the drivetrain. Well, not completely powering the drivetrain, but providing additional power to the drivetrain. Think basically a Prius. It's applying more power to the drivetrain to spin the wheels to take the pressure off the engine that is diesel or natural gas, and so you have less emissions because there is less stress on the engine, so it's not having to work as hard. So the Hypertruck ERX is a zero emission to negative emission drivetrain, and what that means is that it is powered by natural or renewable natural gas to charge the battery that is on board to produce power for the drivetrain, and also utilizes the resistance of the tires as well. So negative emission means that they would use renewable natural gas, and if you are interested in sources of renewable natural gas, check out Aemetis. I'm invested in Aemetis. I have made insane amounts of money on that stock recently. I was with it whenever they were $2 a share, and we have ridden it almost to $30 a share. So that's a pretty amazing stock. But it ties in with Hyliion because Aemetis is a producer of renewable natural gas, and Hyliion is going to be producing this Hypertruck that runs on renewable natural gas. And that means that they are taking elements that generally put pollution into the environment, like dairy and methane runoff and things like that, and capturing that methane, converting that methane into natural gas, hence renewable natural gas. So if they are using the renewable natural gas, then they are a negative emission. However, if they are just using natural gas, then they are a technically zero emission because it is just burning the natural gas, renewable natural gas on board to power the battery that powers the truck itself. And again, it also uses the resistance of the wheels whenever it's going downhill. Instead of using a jake brake, it uses that resistance to slow the truck down, but it also powers the battery that is on board. That is what they're going to be testing. There are likely going to be many fixes that can be applied to this because this is a new technology. No one has ever created a Prius version of a semi-truck, much less a fully electric version of a semi-truck that uses natural gas and renewable natural gas this way. So yes, we can definitely expect to see the downsides as well as the benefits of this testing that they're going to be doing through the Innovation Hypertruck Council. But that's great. Hopefully they just tell us whenever things go well and maybe kind of soft pitch the things that didn't go so well. Now, let's talk about, is this actually going to help the stock price? Well, if it hadn't been announced at such a terrible time, it, yes, would have affected the stock price in a great way. We would have likely seen Hyliion maybe go to 12 and potentially 13, which is insane to say because I bought into this stock whenever it was $36 a share, and now I've been dollar cost averaging down to $19 a share. But yes, the news of this could definitely drive the Hyliion stock higher. But again, we're going to need to wait for, number one, positive information and feedback from the people in this council, follow-on orders from the people in this council, and then broader rollout from Hyliion to the mass producers, because right now they don't really have that much going on. They're partnered with, I believe, Kenworth or Peterbilt. But anyway, these are both great trucks that most Americans use, and these are the trucks and the manufacturers that are going to be utilizing Hyliion's drivetrain. And the truckers are also going to be able to replace their current drivetrains with a Hyliion drivetrain to achieve zero or negative emissions. So this is a great opportunity for Hyliion, so that could push the stock higher as well. And, it's just one of those things where we have to wait and see what is going to happen. But there is also the downside that we have to address, because if this goes south, it could be the end of Hyliion. If they get nothing but negative feedback or people do not purchase follow-on orders, that could be a damning thing for Hyliion, because that basically seals a deal and says what they have produced does not work and isn't going to meet the need, and it is not something that is going to be effective for the market right now, which would be terrible to hear. And, basically, I don't think we would actually hear that. I think we would just eventually never hear about a follow-on order. Then Hyliion would limp along until it basically went bankrupt, and that would be the end. So that is what could potentially happen. Hopefully it's not what happens. I would love for Hyliion to do exactly what they're saying, to produce a Hypertruck ERX that is going to meet all the needs and do everything they said they're going to do, because we've all looked at this and we all believe that in theory all of this works. However, this council is going to give Hyliion a great opportunity to actually put what they're doing into practice, and like we said, put it through the ringer of different situations to find out what they don't know and if it is going to be a suitable fit to meet the needs of the trucking industry. And so that is where we're at right now. And right now I'm buying Hyliion. It's around $10 a share. It fluctuates between 10 and 11 right now. But anywhere between 10 and 20 is a solid buy for me right now. Obviously, once we get around 18 or 19, a lot of hype is going to take over and it's likely going to skyrocket to the moon because, as we've talked about in the past, there are people who are shorting the stock around $10 to $12. So the lower it goes, below 10 to 12, the more the shorts make. So it is in their best interest to short the stock. And we've talked about how short selling works in the past. But just know that whenever someone is shorting a stock and buying put options, it basically means that they're selling the stock for lower than it's actually worth, and it is going to drive the stock down further in the future. It is the information that we're getting now. It is this news that we're getting now that is actually keeping Hyliion up and pushing back against those short sellers. And hopefully the news continues and the people who have bought call options on Hyliion are actually going to be handsomely rewarded, because right now we're just on a wing and a prayer trying to get Hyliion to at least above 15. But anyway, that's where I'm going to be buying. Right now it's around a $2 billion company. They're going after a multiple $100 billion market. So if Hyliion is able to capitalize on this and at least get 10 to 20% of this market, it's going to be a 10 to 20x from here. So anyway, that's my thesis on Hyliion. That's where they are. This is the most current information that we have, but I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I've said here, to, and after is just my opinion and entertainment purposes only, and consult a financial advisor before making any decisions in the stock market or about your personal money. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope that life is going great. And remember, someone is going to do something amazing every day, guys. Why not you? See ya.